Our next speaker is Pearce Aurigemma.
Close enough.
Oh, go ahead and say it.
Aurigemma.
Gemma. Okay. Archie. Achievements, he says, well, I overheard him say he doesn't have any, but I doubt that. When we get to know him, he'll have lots. Bachelor's in computer science and psychology, double major. Title of speech, worst thing in the world. This should be interesting. It's speech number 2 for him out of the Competent Communicator Manual. Objective of speech is to organize his speech, and it's 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
So there's a little bit of a younger audience than I was expecting today. I'm going to have to dynamically change my speech a little because it got a little bit, not risque, but serious. And I generally have very serious topics, and the one thing I want to tell you about today is the worst thing in the world. Most of you are probably thinking right now, what could be the worst thing in the world? You've probably heard of a lot of things, right? You've probably heard of the issues in Africa, where people with AIDS are, how can I say this correctly? Doing inappropriate things to young women because they believe it will cure them from their disease. It's a pretty horrible thing, but I can tell you there's something worse. We've all seen on TV over and over again people flying airplanes into buildings, and that's a pretty horrible thing. And we've seen or heard of gang members shooting people violently, doing violent things. That's a pretty horrible thing, is it not? And for the people in the back, and for myself personally, it's pretty horrible when you wake up in the morning, you pour that bowl of cereal, and you forget that there's no milk. Okay, so what am I trying to get across? What could be worse than all of those? Each individual piece. It's actually pretty simple. It's what causes each one of those to happen. The cause of each one of those horrible acts is the worst thing in the world. Is there anyone in this room who would disagree with me that each and every one of those things occurs because of ignorance? Either some of you are afraid to raise your hand because you disagree with me, but let me further along my point. Let's go back. Why are those men in Africa doing those horrible things to those girls? Because they're ignorant to the reality of the disease. If they knew what the disease was about, if they knew how the disease worked, they wouldn't make those horrible, hurtful actions. Those people who flew, those young men who flew that airplane, they wouldn't have made those horrible actions if they realized that those of us as Americans, we're not evil people, we're just trying to live our lives daily to contribute to society. Just trying to be positive influence on society. That's what we are, but they don't think that. That's not what they're told. That's not why they did what they did. And that's not why it continues to happen everywhere around the world. And gang members, the same thing. If they weren't ignorant to the feelings of those that suffer from their actions, they wouldn't do the horrible things that they do. Now, that's pretty strong points, right? Ignorance is really bad. But what actually is the worst thing in the world? What could be, just what fits right in that category of the worst thing in the world? And I'm going to tell you, it's really simple. And I really want you to listen to this one really carefully. Spreading ignorance is the worst thing that anybody could possibly do. Because that's where all these horrible things come from. That's pretty much where every horrible thing in the world comes from, is the spread of ignorance. Now, we're all ignorant in some sense, right? We don't know everything in the world. It's impossible to know. We all make decisions based on the knowledge that we're given and is presented to us. But the actions we take can be measured, can be judged, and will be judged, and will affect others. And that's why, when you make decisions, when you decide to take action, make it reasonable. Realize that you don't have all the information. Nobody does. Now, is the timer person, am I being timed correctly? Okay, sorry. I figured there'd be a green light at about this point based on my rehearsal. So let me tell you this one story about this guy who came to my house. And I hate it when people come to my house, because they always want something, right? They always want something from you. When someone comes to your house, and this guy, he wanted money, but he was going to aerate my lawn. So I decided to get him to shut up. I would pay him the $30 to do it, and I'd get my lawn aerated at the same time. While I was writing out that check, he told me that he was going to go protest. This was April 15th. He was going to go do a protest at the taxes, at the town hall for taxes or something like that. And I was interested to see what exactly he was protesting. So I asked him that exact question. What exactly are you protesting? And his response was, you know, Obama and the healthcare bill. Oh, interesting. You're protesting Obama and the healthcare bill. And so I asked him this next question. What specifically about Obama or the healthcare bill are you protesting? And he threw out a couple buzzwords. Oh, generational theft and death panels and the deficit and blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know very much about the healthcare bill, and I'm pretty sure that he doesn't either. So I asked him this one final question. What specifically do you think should be done to improve it? And he didn't have an answer. He didn't realize that he was spreading ignorance. He didn't realize that his protest was only just going to be a negative influence in society. He could have spent his time donating it to an organization, but he didn't, did he? So, the last thing I want to end, the conclusion that I want everyone to remember is this. What is the opposite of spreading ignorance? Spreading knowledge. Spreading the knowledge, good knowledge, or education. And if at all possible, at any opportunity you have to spread knowledge or to educate, take advantage of it, because it spreads. It spreads to those societies that you don't realize that it spreads.